But the new management was also looking forward to the company's next gamble. The idea came from the new managing director brought in by Michelin, a man named Pierre-Jules Boulanger. He wanted to motorize the whole country, especially the untapped rural market, potential customers who still relied on horse-drawn carts and carriages. Boulanger ordered Citroen engineers to design what he called an umbrella on four wheels.
It was a small car, very austere in appearance, very low-powered, geared well enough so that it could run well enough on the roads, and with room for two people and a load of potatoes, which is sort of an unusual demographic characteristic to look for.
The top-secret project received the code name TPV, or Très Petite Voiture, very small car. As with the traction, André Lefebvre headed the project after it had been refused by the chief designer Maurice Broglie. The 1937 prototype TPV had a front end that was corrugated to improve the strength of the light-gauge aluminium, and only one headlamp, the legal minimum. The two-cylinder engine could barely get the car up to 40 miles an hour, but it was extremely economical, more than 60 miles to the gallon. There were no frills. Even the windscreen wiper was manually operated. Boulanger also wanted the front-drive TPV to handle comfortably on rough country back roads, and included the specification that a basket of eggs set on the back seat should survive having the car driven across a plowed field with all the eggs unbroken. This the engineers accomplished by including a four-wheel independent suspension, along with rack and pinion steering and power-assisted brakes. The car was finally ready for production in 1939, and 250 demonstration copies rolled off the line on September the 3rd. The next day, Hitler invaded Poland, and France was at war. World War II and the German occupation of France in 1940 gradually ground Citroën production to a halt. Company managers refused to collaborate with the Nazi conquerors, and by 1943, Citroën factories had been shut down completely. To prevent the TPV from falling into German hands, Pierre Boulanger ordered all but one of the prototypes destroyed. It wasn't until Germany was defeated and the war was over that Citroën restarted production and work began again in earnest on the TPV. Finally, in 1948, after 12 years of design and development, Citroën's very small car was ready to be introduced at the Paris Motor Show under its now official name, the Deux Chevaux, or 2CV.
À Paris, le 35e Salon de l'Automobile a été inauguré par Monsieur Vincent Auriol.
The 2CV, as introduced, was still true to the original design concept with just a few modifications. The corrugated aluminium had been replaced with easier-to-weld sheet steel. The original water-cooled two-cylinder engine had been replaced with an air-cooled design, which was easier to start in winter and cheaper too, if a bit noisy. The 2CV was stunningly inexpensive, at a contemporary price equivalent to £212, about a third the cost of a typical American car. Critical reaction was somewhat mixed. One American journalist asked if it came with a can opener. But the people of France immediately took to the odd little car, and thousands of orders were placed for the 2CV right there at the motor show. By 1950, the back order time ran to 6 years.
It was a tremendous success, and it did put the French farmer on wheels, and it did it economically, and it was a fine little car. And if you really think about it, it's really all anybody needs. I mean, we really don't need the Luxomobiles that we have. But for its time, it was exactly what everybody wanted.
Over the years, the 2CV became a part of the fabric of French life. The car became popular with the younger generation, and Citroën promoted it by staging races, round-the-world tours, rallies such as the Africa Raid. James Bond even drove one in For Your Eyes Only. In later years, Citroen would try to replace the 2CV with cars built on the same mechanics but with greater upmarket appeal. The Ami 6 would have swift, exaggerated lines, emphasized by the inclined rear window. The Diane would fit into the product line between the 2CV and the Ami, and would last in production for 23 years. Citroen would also offer the Jeep-like Mahari, an all-terrain four-seat pickup with a ding-resistant plastic body. Each of these vehicles would have its day and its place in the market. But the little 2CV outlived them all. It would even experience a modest revival during the 1970s.
I did get the 2CV at the time at which there was the gas crisis, when there was long lines of people trying to obtain gasoline, and the 2CV was very good about this. It was easy to take it from place to place with very little fuel.
The 2CV lasted in production for more than 41 years. When the last rolled off the line in 1990, more than 3.8 million had been sold worldwide, a return on the company's wager greater than anyone could have imagined.